Hello everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another cross-stitching update video. In this video, I'm going to be doing a recap of my October stitching, which it's going to be fairly quick because I've only been working on 2 projects. And so if you've watched my previous videos, you will have seen that I have one project that I'm trying to get finished before the end of 2025, and then I have another project that I am trying to finish the top 2 rows on that chart. And so I have been working exclusively on those 2 cross-stitching projects. I put all of my other charts away, and yeah, it's been going fairly well, I will say that, like, just starting off. And so the first project that I will show you is Drinks on the Beach, which is from Heaven and Earth Designs, and it is part of the 2025 stitch along that they are putting on this year. They are also going to be doing a stitch along in 2026, and the details for that will be announced on November 1st, which it's currently October 30th, so I'm actually doing my recap a little early, but this was the best time to film. And so yeah, on November 1st, the details for the 2026 stitch along will be coming out, which I am looking forward to seeing and, seeing what the possible charts are going to be. I don't know if I'll participate or not though, just because I have not finished the previous 2 stitch alongs. So yeah, I don't know if I should. Anyways, here's Drinks on the Beach. If I have pictures of it from the beginning of the month, I will try and insert it. And just a quick numbers, like how much I did. I did 6,723 stitches on this chart this month, and I have 15,404 stitches left to finish the top 2 rows of pages. And I am at 39% of the entire chart, but then I also looked up the percentage of just the top 2 rows of pages, and I am at 68% of the just the top 2 rows of pages. So I'm getting closer. This is on a 32 count 1/1 half cross using CXC floss, and I am loving working on this chart. So the bottom row of pages that I'm working on, I think it ends right here with this pink. I was trying to find the bottom row of pages. It's either right here or right here. I think it might be here, probably. I don't know. It's somewhere around there. And so I have found the bottom, and I am just picking a color that can be stitched quite a while. So like this red here I stitched, and there's some greens here that go down farther, and I'm just taking colors that have big chunks right now and trying to just fill in big areas, and that way it makes it easier to stitch across the pages, because there's some colors that are just like around different things. So like there's colors that are around the straw and they're kind of just outline, and so I want to have a lot of like a foundation put in, so then I can go and just do those colors of the little chunks of stitches all at once. So that's what I'm trying to do, is get like a foundation of like those 2 rows of pages, so that I can get all the other colors stitched in easily. And so yeah, it's going well. I am enjoying it. And the other project I have been working on is Autumn Harmony, artwork by Maxine Gadd, charted by Maxine Gadd. Also, I was going to mention, so I am stitching the Maxine Gadd version. This chart was originally on the Haid website a long time ago, I think. At this point, it's been quite a few years, I think, since they retired, Maxine Gadd. And my sister had the Haid version, and so she stitched the Haid version, which is Heaven and Earth Designs, and we wanted to compare. And so she was doing the Haid version, and so when I got my chart, you could actually select how many colors you wanted in the chart, and you could select what size you wanted it to be. And so I selected mine to have less than 100 colors, so it would be similar to the amount of colors in the Haid version, which is I think probably around 89. And then I also selected it to be a finished size that was similar to my sister's stitch count from Haid, and so they're very similar size-wise. And so my sister finished hers, and so we took a picture, and mine's not finished, obviously, but it's on my Instagram, which is the same as my YouTube channel name, so Crafty Gaming Jamie. And yeah, it was just fun to put them together and see the difference, because there is a difference in the way that they were charted. And I almost wonder if Haid used like a different slightly different image because the background on theirs is a lot more like muted and like blushy tones. And I almost wonder if like there was like a slightly different version or something maybe that she had put out. And then another difference that you can't really see in the photos though that we took is that on the Haid version, so I'll put mine right here, on her face, the Haid version is like almost all Krynic, so it's almost all like shiny, which is really pretty. But yeah, so there's just some differences because mine had a ton of confetti stitches in the face of like the different like little like frecklies and spots on her face. So mine had like a ton of confetti in her face. And then another difference is the neck. So I'm gonna say that the Haid version actually has a better neck than mine because mine has like this weird area in the neck that doesn't blend well. And I think part of it might be that I think the neck had some DMC 08 or 09, which has been kind of off in some charts. Like I know Haid had a big problem with those colors a while ago. Like I think it was in like 2020. And so yeah, the neck on mine has a kind of funky spot, but yeah. So it's really fun to see the difference because like I said, they're like very different tonally and the backgrounds are pretty different. But here is my Autumn Harmony, and I have been working on this side in the month of October because this is the side that needs to be done. This other side here is done, as you can see. And so that was one of the reasons why I was trying to get this one side done, is because, like I said, my sister finished hers, I think a month or two ago, maybe. And so I was like, if I have half of it done, and so one of the pictures we took, we folded them like in half, and so it's half of her face and then the other half is from mine. And there is a slight size difference because my sister stitched hers on they're both 18 count, they're both a similar stitch count, but hers is on a dyed fabric, and so I think it shrunk a little bit in the dyeing process, so hers looks slightly smaller, but I think it's just because of the fabric being dyed. So on Autumn Harmony, I have been working a lot filling in this top area. I've been trying to like work my way down from the top. I got the ear filled in this month. If I have before pictures, I will insert them, but I've been really terrible at taking pictures. And in the month of October, are you ready? I did 14,000 stitches on Autumn Harmony, which I cannot believe because it's 18 count, 2 over 1 full cross, and I feel like I stitch really slow on this because there is so much confetti. All in the ear, tons of confetti. There is this area that I've been working on here, which is a lot of confetti. It's like some like sticky bushy things in her hair that are like a lot of grays and beiges and like some like bluies. And so it's totally different from this other like warm background because you're gonna have this area that's like cooler tones. And so yeah, confetti everywhere. It's really slow going. Also, like this area is going to be really slow going because there's like some little like brambles going down her hair, and you can see the outline, and it's a lot of just like a stitch of one color. And so it's going to take a while to do. So I did 14,000 stitches in October. I still need to do 24,600 stitches to get her finished by the end of the year, and I am at 86%. So I am very happy with my progress on Autumn Harmony. Technically, if I keep up what I've been doing, she will definitely be finished in December because like I said, I did 14,000 this month. There's 24,000 left. So if I did another 14,000 in November, then that means in December, I would only have about 10,000 stitches left. So hopefully I can keep up the momentum and get her finished. I'm also really hoping that this bottom area has less confetti because I know her arm needs to be finished filled in, and that isn't a ton of confetti. And then also I think there's a lot more like leafy areas kind of like on this side, and so those went a little bit faster. So that is my progress on Autumn Harmony, and like I said, she's on track to be finished. I am going to need to increase my progress on Drinks on the Beach a little bit though, because I only did 6,700 stitches on it this month, and since there is 15,000 stitches left, I don't think I would have it finished if I kept going the way that I have been going, especially because it needs to be finished, and I think you have to have the photo of your piece turned in before the end of the year. I don't remember what day they allow you to start filling out the form, but it's at the end of December sometime when you have to actually submit your photo, and so it needs to be finished. I would like it to be finished before Christmas because I know that on Christmas I probably won't be stitching, and then the end of the year is kind of crazy. So I need it finished before Christmas so I can take my photo and submit it to Haid so that I can get the other charts that are part of the stitch along. Anyways, the last thing I was going to talk about is just that I have been kind of almost monogamous, because obviously monogamous would just be one project, but I have two, and just how it's going. And I am actually really enjoying it because I have put all the other charts away that I have. And so the area that I stitch, which is I stitch right here, I have a cart here. My Lowry stand is right here. So I have a Lowry, you can't really see it, but it's right here. And it just makes my working area a lot cleaner, because before I would have multiple projects out. So I would have hoops everywhere. I would have like a bin that I would put projects after I worked on them so that I could show them in my videos, because, you know, I need to keep track of what I worked on so I can show it. And so there was like more clutter out, and this is a lot cleaner to just have like the two projects. I have the floss for the projects that I'm working on, and it's also just a lot easier in terms of the way I stitch. Like before I'd be like, oh, what do I want to stitch on now? And I would usually spend a little bit of time just figuring like, what do I want to stitch on, get it in a hoop, get it set up, and get like the floss out for it and stuff. And then I'd have to spend time putting things away. And the way I'm stitching right now is I stitch Autumn Harmony in the morning, and then I stitch on her. I try and do 500 stitches a day. And so I stitch on her, try and get my 500 stitches done fairly early, because like right now my kids are at school, and so I try and get to a point where I don't have very many stitches left on her after my kids get out of school, try and get her finished before dinner, and then once I have my 500 stitches done on Autumn Harmony, then I will pull out Drinks on the Beach, and then I will usually stitch on this in the evening after dinner while we watch like a show. Like we've been watching the show From, which I watched it last year because that was when the new season came out, and then I've been rewatching it again, and then Witcher starts. It's already out today, I think, and so I'm going to be watching Witcher, and so I usually will watch a show in the evening and then stitch on this. And because this is a half cross, I can usually get this 300 stitches, which is what I try and do on this in a day, done in like one episode of a show. It usually will go pretty fast if I just pick like one color to work on. And it also like usually takes me, because I'm doing this with one strand half cross, I will have my length of floss, and one length of floss usually will get me like 100 stitches. So I know that I have to do like 3 lengths of floss, and that will get me my 300 stitches for the day. I will say that when I have no stitch days, that this one sometimes does not get worked on the next day. So if I have a day where I don't stitch at all, which I have written everything down, so I have like this little notebook where I keep track. So like I had some no stitch days, and so when I had time to stitch again, I did Autumn Harmony, and then I tried to do extra on Autumn Harmony so I wouldn't get behind. So yeah, this week you can see was a pretty bad week for no stitch days. I had this day I didn't stitch at all, and then I had 2 days that I didn't stitch on Drinks on the Beach at all. So that wasn't great, but that's just, you know, it happens sometimes because there was other things going on. Like Saturday was the day we went and got pumpkins because it's almost Halloween, and then we had went out to pizza and stuff. So yeah, there was just other things, other life. And also just like books. I will quickly mention books real quick. There's only one book that I really want to talk about, and it's a book that I wanted to read in the summer. I didn't read it in the summer, and so I finally read it now, and it is called Servant of Earth by Sarah Hawley, and I loved that book. I got so into it, and it's been a while since I got into a book to where I've actually wanted to read it during the day, because normally I will just read books like before bed for like, you know, 20-30 minutes, and this book was so good that I actually wanted to read it during the day, and so it took some of my stitchy time away because I was like, I just want to know what's gonna happen. And it's a romantasy book, and I fully loved it. And it's got like a fairy magical world, but there's also humans, and I'm not going to give anything away. And yeah, it was a really good book. I enjoyed it. And there is a second book out in the series, and I have it on hold at the library, but I haven't got it yet. Also, actually, there's another book I think I'll talk about, which I listened to the second book in the series. What was the series called? It was the prison one where I had talked about it before. So it was called The Gilded Cage by Lynette Noni, and it is in the Prison Healer series. And the second book made me kind of mad. So I really liked The Prison Healer. I gave it a 5 stars because I thought the ending was just like, like it had me just like shook, everything. And so when I had got the Gilded Cage right away from my library, they had it and it was available. And that one made me so mad because I think it's only a 3-book series. And so book 2, everything just kind of starts to kind of like fall apart, you know? Like the main character just starts making really bad decisions and you're just like, how did you survive this long when you are so making bad decisions? It was interesting. And I get that it's probably setting you up, you know, for like some big finale last book. But yeah, it was just making me kind of frustrated throughout the second book when you're just repeatedly having the main character be like, I shouldn't do this. And then they do. So that was frustrating, and I have the 3rd book on hold at the library, but it's not available yet. So when that's available, I am hoping that it's like a redemption for book 2, because book 2 was frustrating. And I think we've all listened to like those like books where the main character is just making so many decisions where you're like, why are you doing this? You don't have to do this. You have a choice, and that's a bad one. But yeah, that is all that I have really listened to and read. I have been reading House of Leaves on and off. That book is, some chapters will be like interesting. I'll be like in it. And then some are just such a rambly, like off the rail from everything that I'm just kind of like falling asleep. So House of Leaves is going not well, but that's on my fall reading list that I wanted, of books I wanted to try and read in the fall. So I'm gonna try and keep going. And like I said, some parts are just like, wow, I'm in it, I'm hooked. And then others I'm like, wow, what is this? Yeah, but that is all for this video. It has already went on longer than I thought it would, but I will see you hopefully in a week or 2 with another update on my 2 projects that I am working on, hopefully getting them closer to being finished. I hope you all have a good Halloween if you celebrate it. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Bye!